Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
And I'm Christina Kattan, and I couldn't come to the podcast today because I'm under the weather.
Poor Tina, sinus stuff.
Yeah, she just couldn't do it. Hi, Shell. Shell saying
Shell.
good morning. Yep. So we're unfortunately one host down. Oh, hi, Piper. Good to see you this morning. And it's so sad because it's never really the same when one of us is missing, but it's extra so sad because it's kind of the whole point of today's show. Like, if you pay any attention to what's going on before we go live, we had to go change around all of our what today is all about stuff, right? Because we are changing our podcast topic. Good afternoon from across the pond from Maria. Wow, it's afternoon for some people. It feels like afternoon for me today. I was up really early. You guys been up early or what?
Yes, but not
7.
productively.
Not productively. Well, what's up with you? Because usually we do start with a what's up. We go around the virtual table. We ask all the hosts what's up, and we're praying for Tina. If everyone else could also in the chat. By the way, thank you if you're in the chat. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. Everybody, no matter how you see the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, remember to like, subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends. And pray for Christina Kattan because she's not feeling well. And what's up with you this week, Jen?
Well, this week I am. Are we saving Nano stuff for the end, or are we talking Nano? Let's save Nano. We'll save Nano. So
okay,
because I got lots of other things to talk about.
All right.
So boxes and boxes and boxes, and it just seems like you spend so much time and it doesn't look any different because you're in the room the whole time. Like, we stuffed a ton of stuff in our dining room, and I've been slowly trying to get through the dining room. But I got far enough to where the table's mostly cleared off because I had boxes and boxes. And then even though it's not finished, I put the Christmas trees in there and I decorated the Christmas trees. Rhonda, I know you'd be happy to hear that.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
So I got one, I've got one room that's partially decorated, but we had to do something. It was just getting anywho, so yeah,
I
that's
know.
all I'm doing is unpacking like crazy.
Yeah, Jen just made a sad noise because she saw our friend Boho Bookworm is very excited because she finally showed up right on time for a writing sprint. But alas, today is the podcast, so there won't be a sprint. Sorry, but she had to go hang up the laundry anyway. But shout out to you, Boho Bookworm. It's good to see you. She's been coming to your daily sprints, right, Jen?
Yes. And so if you are doing NaNoWriMo, or even if you're not, every day except for Fridays, I'm trying to show up at 8:00 and do some sprints. We do 4 in a row. And so we're getting lots of words in doing that. So, yep.
Yeah, and people say they appreciate your time structure, Jen. How are you structuring your sprints?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing the Pomodoro process. So 25-minute sprints, 5-minute breaks where you get up and you move around. If you want more information on that, we have a book that we have written, and all the proceeds go back to this podcast to continue the podcast. And it is the link. I will put it later in the description, but you can also go to our website, I think, and find it. So yes, it's called 30 Days of Writing Sprint Prompts. So just go to Amazon and type in Christian Indie Writers and you will find us.
Yes, because we want you to develop a daily writing habit during NaNoWriMo. It's one of the good reasons to do NaNoWriMo, and those sprint prompts will help you do that. You see something in the chat, Jen?
Oh, just Teresa's joined us. Teresa has been wrong one. Sorry, they're popping up there. Teresa's been my ride or die. She's there every morning.
Good morning, Teresa.
Piper says, I am trialing a new newsletter service and just lost my whole email I'm sending.
Oh, no.
Also use Draft Digital to go wide.
Yay, that's fun.
That's awesome. All right, Shell's what's up is, yes, praying for Tina. Rough week at work, little bit of writing and lots of reading is keeping me sane. Didn't get my blog post done. Hopefully next week. Well, you know what? There's always next week, right?
Yep. So. All the little baby steps that you do are cumulative and help to make you a success. So get it done this week if you didn't get done last week. No harm, no foul.
Yep.
All right. I'd like to know what Piper ends up trying about the newsletter service and the draft to digital to go wide. That was new for me too. When was the last time we talked about going wide and exclusive? I mean, things have changed a ton.
Yeah.
We should maybe go back and see when we even talked about that because, gosh, since we started this podcast, I think draft to digital might have become a new thing. I'm not even sure. It's been,
or it's bigger. It wasn't new, but it's for sure bigger.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Rhonda, what's up with you this week?
Well, this week, just working on Nano. I've only got another week or so to do, and I'm using my workbook.
Yeah. Talk about your new book.
Well, this one is specifically for Cozy Mysteries, which is what my the series that I'm writing with my mom, who is the other part of the Dee Dee Bowman team, and so I am just trying to. I had already started this book 2 nanos ago. And so I'm not really using this the way it's really intended because I already have most of it already planned out. But it's still nice to see it all laid out logically like that because it's still helpful, even though I've already started it. So I'm really happy with the progress.
That's awesome.
That I'm making.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, what's up in November is usually going to be Nano stuff, right? I mean, what's up is we're writing. I was traveling and I'm home. And so for me, it's strange that Nano is like almost done because I feel like I'm just now getting my groove of it. So for me, it's like my head is spinning and I'm just waiting for the dust to settle is how I feel right now. That's my what's up this week. So not really a whole lot to report other than, optimism. Yay. Everything's great. And possibly we should just dive right into the topip.
Yeah. Well, showing up, first of all, is big, right? Every day showing up for your career is big. You've been there with me, these sprints too. So real quick, Maria says that her what's up. Been making promotional stuff for Lottie's Locket ahead of release on Thursday.
Yay.
So exciting. I won't make the mistake of trying to put links. You can see them if you search Lottie's Locket trailer. We had that little snafu last week. So we're so excited for you, Maria.
All right. So,
one more.
She got 50K yesterday. Congratulations.
Right.
She did it while we were sprinting. It was very exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, go, Jen.
She says, I have still roughly 7 chapters left to go, but I'm hopeful I can do it. I think you can do it. You've been on a roll. Maria has been doing Nano as well. She says 33,350 words so far. That's great on track.
That's so great.
That's awesome. I'll talk about Nano a little bit later, but I got some news too. So
that's so exciting. All right. Okay. Well, we decided with Christina, she just had her book launch party, and during it, she read some just beautiful reviews. And I must say, our podcast audience was responsible for some of the beautiful reviews that she read. I don't want to call you out, but I'll tell you what, you guys composed the most beautiful book reviews of any people I ever saw. It was like, wow. So then Jen got some that she thought were great. And then I had like questions. And as I started asking my questions about book reviews, Rhonda started to kind of have questions. And so then we're like, why don't we just have this discussion live on the air so other people can kind of see where we're coming from about this. Did I catch it pretty much right, Jen?
Yep. Sounds exactly right.
All right. So Rhonda, what was that question that you asked just before we went live? And I'm like, well, why don't you save it for the air and we can try to answer it live?
Okay. My question was, if I'm going to leave a book review, I've either done it on Goodreads or on Amazon, maybe Facebook. But if I want to make sure that the world in general knows I'm leaving a book review, those are the 2 places I want to go. Is there somewhere else I should be going?
So Amazon and where?
Goodreads.
That's interesting. Okay. Now I'm very curious about this answer because in my mind, a person who wants to leave a book review is a reader. So I want to know what would another reader tell me is a place where they would go to leave it, because then that's where I want to make sure my book is, right?
Right.
So there's many reasons to pay attention to this. It's mostly because you want to know where people are getting their books and where they are looking for recommendations about which book to read. So you don't want to send people this is why I have questions, is because as I'm asking people to go leave a review for my book, which one do I want to send them to? Is there one that I want to cultivate above the others? Is there one that will universally like disseminate all of the reviews together? Does anybody have this information?
I have some comments about that.
Okay.
First of all, like it depends if a person is wide or if they're exclusive. If they're exclusive, then it really narrows it down. So let's say, for example, if you're exclusive to Amazon,
Which means only Amazon is selling your book. It is not available anywhere else.
right.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you only will get reviews on Amazon because as Rhonda pointed out, there's also Goodreads, which is very like some people think that Goodreads is not worth the time, but it depends on your genre. I do believe it has to do with that, but I think there is a lot of reason for you to be paying attention to Goodreads and to have your own author profile there and whatnot. But
all right. I'm sorry. Can we just pause? Just because I mean the topic is light anyway, and I kind of feel like if we had the newest of new person, they'll know what Amazon is.
Yeah.
Amazon, everybody shops and buys everything at Amazon. But maybe people don't even know what Goodreads is because like it's just a weird Goodreads. What even is that? It's basically a website about books, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a social media platform that was started just to be able to discuss books.
Yep.
And Amazon did buy it out.
Oh, did they?
I
did not know this. Wow. Okay. So
Amazon
owns
probably
Goodreads
double
too.
check
Wow. Okay.
I should probably double check my facts.
Gotcha.
But for my recollection, someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But Amazon bought them out because then you can, when you get a book in Kindle and you start reading it, you can select whether or not you want to show up on your Goodreads account that you're reading it when you finish it. You can go straight to review. You can I believe make your reviews go to both places or maybe not. But anyway, it is a great platform, and there are a lot of people that go to Goodreads first to look for a book because they're going there because it's readers, as opposed to like going to Amazon where some of the top reviews might be from bloggers or people that are paid to do reviews, which can happen on Goodreads too, but Goodreads is predominantly readers. And so
and on Amazon, it could be like, I bought this book for my nephew. Like, you know what I mean? It could be like the shipping was slow. Like it's not necessarily about books if you're over at Amazon.
Right. Piper says there are people who rate, not review books on Goodreads without reading the book.
Ooh, that's bad.
Not good. But I have gotten I've gotten ratings from people that didn't review it. Some people just don't. If you're not a writer, that it just makes your skin crawl and you don't want to write anything, some people will just give you the ratings, and that's okay too. So Shell says if it's an Audible book, you can leave a specific review on Audible for the audio version. That's very true. Piper says I look at reviews at the shop I'm going to buy. Mostly though, I look at Amazon because that's where I shop the most. Same here. Maria says I do Amazon and Goodreads and also do book reviews on my blog sometimes. So that's a great transition. So if you're exclusive to Amazon, places that can come in for reviews for you are Amazon, obviously, and Goodreads, which we've already said, but also blogs and YouTube. There are people that have YouTube channels that all they do is review books. So there are other places you can look to get people to review your book like that. Now, the obvious easy one is Amazon. That's where, if you are exclusive, that's where you can get most of your reviews.
So, excuse me. So, Rhonda, did you get your question answered?
Yes. I guess my question was more, if you want to, on Amazon, you need reviews. So is there another platform that has as much weight, I guess?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So how
That's
important are these reviews, you're saying?
I hate to say that Amazon is king, but we all know that it is. But I am wide. I am not exclusive to Amazon, except for the podcast book is exclusive. And that was just for the fact that we didn't want to have to incorporate and figure all that stuff out. Like it was easy to do Amazon exclusively. But I am wide. And so I have found it depends on what country you're in. So in Canada, Kobo is really big. It is really big. And so I would say the majority of my Canadian readers are reading my ebook on Kobo and not on Amazon. our chat is blowing up right now. So let me see if there's anything better than I am. Maria says there's enough of community on Goodreads that it's worth it. I think I agree. They're there to look for books and often look for the reviews. I always read a review. I always do. Like I look like just like they say, I am like the typical reader. Your book cover is the first thing. If your book cover is garbage, I usually don't even look at anything else. And then I will read the blurb. And if the blurb is garbage, I probably don't go past that. And then if the blurb is pretty good, then I will generally look and see how many reviews there are. Sometimes I don't even read them, but I look to see how many and how many stars it is. And then sometimes I will read them though, because if there's a book that's kind of like on the border for me, like, well, there's only 6 reviews or there's only 2 reviews, then maybe I'll go read the reviews. And if it looks like it's their grandma reviewing it, then I probably will pass the book. But if it's a well-written review that really gives me a feeling that this person read the book and enjoyed it and can tell me why they enjoyed it, then that makes a difference. And we want to talk about that today too. Maria says, Goodreads is useful for not Amazon exclusive authors. Yep. There are people who have bought my books from indie small press, from independent bookshops, etc., so they can review on Goodreads. Oh, that's a good point. Especially Christian writers. I sell quite a few books at the local Christian bookstore. So there are a lot of people that are my peeps, my readership, that still want that book in their hand, that don't rely on ebooks. And so that is really important. Teresa says, I felt like I was at least helping in some way, even if it wasn't a full review, but I won't give low ratings. All right, so let's talk about that. There's kind of this unspoken author code, right? If you are a writer and you review another book, there's kind of a code that you won't give a bad review, won't give a review. Because you don't want anybody coming back after you, first of all, and slamming you just because they're mad at the review you gave them, but also because we all know how hard it is. Like if you haven't written a book, you don't really realize the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. If you're an author, you do. So there's kind of like this code where people just, they didn't enjoy the book or it just wasn't good, they just don't leave a review.
Well, then you better be careful whose book you volunteer to read, because if you read it and then you don't want to leave a review, guess what that means?
You need to, that's a good point. First of all, I never agree.
I think I'm done leaving reviews, period, because then you're feeling kind of trapped to say something good. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you read the book and you don't like it, and then you have to leave a negative, so it's really becomes sort of like I'm so important in my own head that it would matter what my review is. But you know what I'm saying?
I really want to see what everyone in the chat has to say about this topic, because this is a kind of a hot topic with authors, because yes, if you've agreed to give a review, then what do you do? First of all, I never agree. Like if I give a review, it's because I came across a book or because I wanted to read it or whatever. And if you're in this chat and I've never reviewed your book, please don't assume that it's because I didn't like your book. I probably haven't gotten to it yet. Like I have a TBR like everyone else. Like it's a mile long and it's Nano and my life is crazy. But I never agree to it. So if I give a review, it's because I have just felt like I wanted to do that. But how do the rest of you guys feel? Like, do you feel like that if you've offered to give a review that you need to do it, even if you feel like it's going to be bad? I think there's also ways of doing it that won't kill the author, but can be honest. Did you guys know that a 3-star on Amazon that Amazon considers that a negative review? So Rhonda knew that too. So
well, I'm not surprised, because in a gig economy, if you're not getting 5 stars, they're pulling you for service. And so ratings have always been troubling to me in every career that I have been in.
Well, here's a good thing though. I've gotten a 3-star. And at first I was like, oh, but then I read the review and she was very honest about what she didn't like about it. And it kind of made me laugh, because one of the 3 stars, I think it's only one, said that she didn't like that it was a novella. It clearly labeled a novella. So you give me 3 stars and say that you didn't like that the book was too short. I'm okay with that. Like she said, she wanted more from the story. Well, that just means you liked what I wrote. So I'm okay with that. So there are ways, I think, of giving reviews that are honest, that doesn't kill the reader's reviews, right? All right, let's look at the chat. Teresa says, I only read reviews. As a reader, I'm not published yet. One day.
Soon,
if I'm reading outside,
the finish line.
I know, right? If I'm reading outside of Christian fiction and want to figure out the stream of or swearing level.
That's
the
a good
point. So you
idea.
can, yeah.
Mhm.
So you can comment on the things that let's say it's a Christian book. You can comment about how it's a clean read, all the positive things, whether even if you didn't like it, there are things you can comment on without lying, but being honest so that people that are reading the reviews will know if it's for them or not. Piper says, I left a 3-star for a book. I read the whole thing. I won't if I don't enjoy, but it had an ending issues. But to me, 3 stars was good book, but Amazon says negative. Exactly. And that's okay. Right? Because we need negative reviews for Amazon to look at us legitimately.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, give that 3-star if they hit the average. I mean, if it was an average book, why not?
Right. I'm with Gigi because you can always find something nice to say if you really want to. And if
all right,
you
hold on.
find
Let me find Gigi. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
if you can find something nice to say, and the only thing is like completely unrelated to like how good the book was, then other people who read the reviews are going to realize that you're trying to be kind, but you know, maybe
Agreed.
But
this wasn't
isn't the point of the book, the review, to warn people away if they're not going to like it, if it's totally not a good book? Like, I
well,
mean,
if you promise to leave a review,
right.
then you need to leave a review. And you
Well,
got to
here's
do
what
what you got to do.
suggestion
Right.
for Maria. She says if you didn't want to continue review a book
hmm
and give a low rating, you could always contact the author and say that it wasn't your genre or style or cup of tea or something. Or you could be just flat out honest with them and say it needs more editing or the storyline. Like you're an author. This is
Here's the
another author.
review. If
Be,
you really want me to post it, I will.
be professional, but our whole point, especially with
Mhm.
this podcast, is support each other. And if you
Yes.
read something and like if you really want to support that other author, take the time to send them an email saying, these are the problems I saw with your book. That would be really great.
Right. And this might be completely the wrong way of looking at it, but to me, I would rather have a 3-star review and have someone follow through on what they said they were going to do than just have all
Yeah.
these well, I don't want to say broken promises, but just if you say you're going to leave a review, leave the review or like Maria suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
I'm so like Piper. She says, when I read reviews, I deliberately look at the 1 to 3 stars to see why. If they
Yeah.
talk about editing, I skip. But if they
Yeah.
say they didn't like the plot or religion, etc., I still may read. Yes, absolutely agree. Agree. So other places. So if you're wide, we never covered this. Let me cover this really quick. If you're wide, all the places that you could get reviews, including Amazon, would be Apple, Google Play, Barnes and Noble. I get reviews from Barnes and Noble, Kobo, like I mentioned earlier. BookBub is another big growing place because it's like Goodreads, except for you can actually get books straight from them. You can like click on links to go to, like you can buy, or they have sales, or they have freebies. So BookBub, if you don't have a profile there, you need to go over there right now and make an author profile.
I like Maria how she's saying she does swaps, which she's saying it's controversial. I don't see why it would be. She's saying, excuse me, like I'll read your book, you read mine, and then we both leave an honest review. I think that's awesome. She says it's been one of the most effective ways to interact and support with other authors, and she gets a few sales, and she's always careful to check them out first. So I think that's awesome.
Just be very careful, because if Amazon figures out that you're swapping reviews, they will pull all your reviews.
That's really not allowed.
Mm-mm.
Why? Like, see, why is that not allowed?
Because they don't trust that people will be honest.
Oh, well,
That's
I
the
guess
problem.
that's true. I mean, if we just had to have a whole 5-minute discussion about don't say nothing if you can't say nothing bad, like, I mean, you have to be honest. And that's the thing. I'm sorry. A lot of indie published stuff needs a lot of help. And so how can you be like, yes, I'll be honest, but then you get into it and it really needs like editing round 2 or something like that.
Right. Maria says, Jen, I didn't mean not being honest. LOL.
No.
I just meant I know that. I just meant if you didn't want to finish because it wasn't your personal preference. If there was editing issues, I would gently mention it to them. Yeah. And then she said controversial because Jen said she never would. Jen says she never would because Jen, like, I don't like that pressure over me. Even like the time pressure of like, oh, I gotta get this done. Like I have too much on my plate already. She said I would only do it subtly or unofficially, like an email when no one else would see it. Like I 100% agree with you, Maria. 100%. So
yeah. Well, as you can see, this is a topic that a lot of people have opinions about. And I still would like to focus a little bit more on my original question. So you had said Amazon is king. So go to Amazon, please, and leave a review about my book, is what you like, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. If I'm going home for Thanksgiving or Christmas and I'm going to be asking people to please read my book, and what's really going to help me sell more books is if my good friends and family will leave me an honest review, which of course Amazon will remove because it's your friends and family, but who else are you going to ask? Okay. So I'm telling them go to Amazon. I'm telling them to go to Goodreads. Or should I ask maybe, where would you normally buy books? Like I have found this very interesting because first of all, it reminds people that you're a writer. So when I was traveling this last couple of weeks, I would ask people, you're a reader, where do you buy books? And a lot of them were like Amazon, and a lot of them admitted they missed browsing at bookstores, right?
Yeah.
But so still my question remains, we're sending them to Amazon. That's what we want. And why? Why are book reviews so valuable? We always say it, Jen, but why?
Well, because that's just like we've all been talking about. Everybody looks at them. Everybody reads them to see whether or not they're going to read your book. I mean, there's also other reasons. Like if you want to do advertising on not advertising, if you want to get a BookBub deal, which is a whole nother topic. I've never even done those yet. But if you want to do that, you have to have a certain number of reviews. I think it's 50 reviews. So there's a legitimacy factor of the more reviews you get, the more people will look at it and say, oh, okay, this book is legitimate. This isn't just some book that was thrown out there. So it's a legitimacy factor. But as far as like friends and family, first of all, I've never had any of my friends and family's reviews taken off, like Facebook friends, but I made sure that I sent them clean links. So it didn't look like they were all going from the same link there. That's a problem that the Amazon bot will figure that out. I don't have a whole lot of reviews from them. Most of my reviews are from people that I don't know. So, but starting off, it was people that were Facebook friends, because where else are you going to start? So you got to start somewhere. And then Piper's answer to your question is social proof. I'm more apt to click to look at a book with 20 to 30 to 40 reviews than with 4. That's very true. Okay. Teresa says, when I've reviewed for traditionally published authors, they push Amazon. Their goal is 100 reviews on Amazon on release day. Then they say anywhere less you can buy books and Goodreads. Anywhere else
you can buy books and Goodreads. Okay. So they want 100 reviews on Amazon by launch day.
Because also too on launch day, like the more reviews you have, the more books, then that whole Amazon algorithm, they're going to push your book up. And if you get 100 reviews, okay. So we could get really off topic, but if you get 100 reviews, you are for sure going to be the top of, or I shouldn't say for sure, depends on what your genre is. My genre, I would be at the top. So when anyone goes searching for that genre, I'm going to be up there and they're going to see it. And if you're in the number 1 spot, you're going to sell a certain number of books that day. If you're in the number 2 spot, there is actually a formula. You can figure out that you're going to sell that many books a day, and so on and so forth as you go down. So if you get more reviews on a launch day, it's just going to, it's like a snowball. You're just going to sell more books and more books and more books. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maria says, yeah, they are a bit of a cycle because you need people to read and review in order to get them to reviews to be visible.
Yes. Okay. Excuse me. Again, another question. So in Tina's case, when she was doing her book launch and her book was live for like a pre-order and people couldn't leave a review, like how does that so help? So if you want 100 reviews on your book by launch day, but your book isn't launched, how are people leaving reviews? What?
They get in there on launch day and they do it. Or
you're expecting 100 people to go on launch day and write a review. That's huge. People do that for people? Wow.
It depends on how many people you have in your readership.
Yeah.
My first book absolutely would not have happened. This next book, I'll be close. Maybe not super cool, but I'll be a lot closer because I have more people on my newsletter list. I mean, my newsletter list is 10 times what it was when I released my first book. So, I mean, if statistically I should sell 10 times the amount of books on release day for this, and I should have 10 times the amount of reviews on the first day. Does that make sense? And some authors, my launch day is Friday, but the book will actually go live a few days earlier. And then you let your launch team know that. So they go on there and they can do reviews. So, but it's still like it's still officially your launch day is when it goes live. So, yeah, lots of other chat. If you are listening to this and not part of our chat right now, you're going to want to go back to YouTube and watch this chat. We've got a lot of great advice and great comments going on in our chat. But we wanted to actually do a positive spin on this because we have received some really good reviews lately, some beautifully written. That's what I want to say. I don't care if it's a 4, or I'm sorry, a 2. But if it's well written, that's impressive. So we wanted to kind of highlight some well written reviews that we've written or we've read recently on some of our books for people to see, like, this is how you write a review, right, ladies? Because it kind of like got us in our heart when we read some of these, because it wasn't just like 5 stars, good book, you should read it. No, like, people like took the time to like craft a review, and that's how we got this topic idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So Jen, did you have one you wanted to share? I only have one and it's super short. Did you want to share some?
Yes. Let me see. Okay. This one is kind of long, but let me read it, and so we can talk about all the things that are. There's a bunch of them that I could share, so I hope nobody feels left out. But okay, I'll read this one and then I'll have Jamie read one. All right, so this one is for my book, Avoiding Esther. And it's not a 5-star, it's a 4-star. Jennifer Carl Tong does it again with this lovely full-length novel, Avoiding Esther. Esther is a secondary character in Searching for Anna who makes her way to the primary spot in this novel. The scene is still Lansing, Michigan. However, the novel opens with Will, an Albright family friend, and John Ward, who are soldiers and best friends in World War I. This part of the story is in France, is quickly developed and leads you into the storyline in Lansing. You get to meet the Albrights and Will's sweet mom, Mrs. Caffey. By the end of the story, you don't want to let them go. I love Jennifer Carl Tong's ability to pull you into the story from page 1. The characters are well developed. The storyline stirs up emotion and takes you on a growth journey and more than one character. Carl Tong has a beautiful way of intertwining scripture and spiritual themes that are not forced but beautifully written. There are scenes of salvation, redemption, forgiveness, and sweet love. You will root for each character along the way and hope that the love interests find each other. A 3rd book is definitely in order to further develop the story of the female protagonists in this basic storyline. The novel is clean and appropriate. The only scene of caution is chapter 17, where Esther goes into a speakeasy to help a girl who is trying to change her life. There are a couple of strong, crude slang words used, but no cursing or overly descriptive scenes. Would not be appropriate for a tween to read, though. Okay, so many things that that I love about this review. Do you guys want to comment before I say anything?
Well, I like that she was real specific about the spice level that she expected and like precisely why she would say she didn't care for that, because it definitely seemed to me that it was enough to know, well, we probably disagree about what would be acceptable, but I see why she mentioned it.
That was really a beautiful review, but is it necessary to do really a synopsis of the book in a review?
I don't feel it was a full synopsis. I feel like she gave just enough to show that she read it and that she had like a kind of authority to speak on it. Like, there's, I think, enough. Like, the first paragraph gives kind of like a little bit of what the story is about and who you're going to meet, and then the second paragraph talks about my writing, very specifically about like the themes that I wrote into the book, and then the last paragraph is specific about the cleanliness and the appropriateness. And I disagree with whether a tween could read it or not, because I worked really hard to make that appropriate. That's okay. That's her opinion. Yeah, but that's okay, because everybody has a different opinion, and she's very specific about it. So I, as a mom picking this up, would go right to chapter 17 and read it and be like, what? And then I would make the decision of whether or not I would let my teenage or tween-age daughter
For
read
sure.
it. So very well written, and I really appreciate it, because I don't have to agree with everything that the reviewer says, right? That's not the point of a review. So that person, I thought, that one, I wanted to highlight that one because I thought that that they really put the time into it, and the way that they chunked it up with, here's the book, kind of a little bit about the book, here's a little bit about the author and what she's intertwining into the book, and here's the specific cleanliness and that kind of stuff, because for my genre, that's important, very important for people that are looking at books and stuff, because I've picked up books that the cover, it says that it's clean and the cover looks clean. And then I get in the book and I'm like, nope. So, all right, Jamie, you want to read go ahead.
Sure. I want to just address Maria in the chat. This might be an obvious question. How do you get the reviews on launch day when it's only released that day? Are they ARC readers? It's difficult. Yes. Okay. So yes, Maria. And so here's the deal. Beg your pardon. As all of us have crossed the finish line now to publication and are kind of more into the sales end of things, this is kind of, you're going to battle against Amazon and Penguin and Random House and all of those other book sellers. And they're not really super eager to, have you be a competitor. So that's the trick of it, is to figure out how to crack the nut and get the customer base to be purchasing your books. It's really terribly difficult, but you can do it building your business just a little bit at a time. 100 advanced review readers does not happen overnight.
No.
And building a career.
Right. And I think that for me, 100 would be over time. I don't think I'm gonna get 100 on release day, maybe eventually. But Maria, for me, when I'm reading your question, I think that maybe a little bit more like before this, when you're working on your contract, you might need to have a clause in your contract that they allow you to do more ARC, like digital ARCs. I don't know why they wouldn't give you the ability to do that yourself.
I forgot she was not indie.
Right. So, okay. All right, Jamie, let's hear your review.
All right. I only picked it out because it really did like what Jen said. It really felt like it was more than nice book. This is called New Family Must Read. This is about And the Mom Ran Away with the Moon, which, by the way, is free if you subscribe to the newsletter at writingshorts.net. I think that's where this person got their copy, actually. Anyway, this short book on motherhood should be a must-read for all new parents. Motherhood is not a perfect procedure process for any new family. All mothers and fathers need to give themselves permission to take a break. It helps the whole family and gives us the change needed. Remember, this too shall pass. This book just reminds us of that fact. So I like that review because it was about the book and not so much about she said thus instead of thou or whatever. It was very much like, will you like this book and what it's about or won't you? And I just really appreciated that for a change.
Yep, I absolutely agree. I had another review and I can't find it now. So I'm about it.
I'm sorry. Also, I want to say that it was a 4-star, which I super appreciated. And then I went and looked and they had left mostly 4 stars. So it's like in my mind, in their mind, there's average, good, and super book. And I was very happy to make above average. I was very pleased with that review.
It's a beautifully written one too.
Yeah, I love it. And
if we've already read them on air on our launch party for the Christian Indie Writers workbook that we put out just this last month. But if you want to read a couple of we only have a couple of reviews, but they are very, very well written by two of our fans that are always in our chat with us. And so I won't take the time to read them again since we've already read them on. But again, I want to thank Gigi Wagner and Cindy Dow for their beautifully written reviews that just that show that they really did enjoy the book. They talk about who we are as a podcast and what we bring to the table with this book, and just well written, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Maria, I misspoke. You are indie, just not self-published. I am famous for misspeaking. I apologize.
Oh, Shell says Maria John's author pending. NetGalley will allow readers to do that. I'm not a member, but they do pre-release stuff.
What is a NetGalley? What is a NetGalley?
Okay. NetGalley is a website you pay for that will help you get reviews.
What? That's okay though. My mom can't leave me a review, but I can go pay.
You're not paying for the review. You're paying for the service of them putting your book out there for this whole host of people. They work to make sure that the people that come onto NetGalley are legitimate readers, that they do give reviews. Like they don't just take your book for free.
Okay.
So like you're paying for their service of cultivating this list.
Okay, I see.
There's no guarantee of how many reviews you're going to get.
So people like Teresa are on there who are like hungry to give a review. right? So it's like,
Possibly, yeah.
yeah, people who are like, I will read your book because I want a free book and I will give a review. Yeah,
Right.
right.
So another place you can go that we suggest now, it's because it's still free because it's still in beta form and it's worked pretty well for me, is Story Origin. They are like BookFunnel, but they also have a component where you can do reviews. And of course, not everybody who gets my book or who says they're going to review it actually ends up reviewing. And that's just part of the game. People I've heard say it's about a 10%. Like if you give out 100 books, you're getting about 10 reviews. And that's kind of sad. With Story Origin right now, I'm at about 30%. So
all right. So since
not
we're
terrible,
throwing
but
we're throwing around percentages and stuff, and Maria, you're making me laugh. Maria says my mom could give me a review, but she would have to be very careful and maybe by using a review pen name. Mom, here's your review name diploma.
At a different IP
okay.
address.
Yeah. So, oh, I lost my thought question. So anyway, the point about giving away. Oh, okay. How much of your writer business time should you allocate to worrying about whether your book has reviews? Like 30% of your energy should care. 9% of your energy should be caring about this, because anything to avoid writing the next book, right? So like, how much should you care if you don't have reviews? Is this a problem to solve or not? Right?
yeah, because you could obsess over it for sure. Like
So,
I get emails from my fans, and I make it my goal to always respond when somebody emails me back. And it's getting harder and harder because I'm getting more and more people actually, they realize this. And so then they email me. But I want to be real. I don't want to ever be a robot for my fans. But in that process, I've gotten people saying, yeah, I gave you a review over at Barnes and Noble and I had no idea. So
oh my goodness.
I don't spend time going and looking. I don't. Maybe I should, but I don't. I do occasionally look at Amazon, and I do use Story Origin. Every so often, I'll throw it out there and look for more reviews. I ask my own readership for reviews every so often, and then I kind of like keep track of and see if I get more reviews from that. But I don't spend that much time because honestly, like write the next book. That really should be our mantra. Yes, reviews are important. Yes, all the things that we talk about on this podcast are important, but the most important thing is, like we always say, put your butt in the chair and write your book. Write the next book for sure.
All right. Well, Maria's saying what's challenging is getting reviews and awareness for the second book, the sequel for her first historical fiction. The first has 20 reviews and the second one has 3. Yeah. And then Teresa's saying avoid the reviews. She's not sure if she could read them. It might stress her out, which I think is pretty good advice. I think eventually I will have my daughter or someone read them all and give me the Cliff's Notes. Mom, they're saying your sentences are too long. That's all I need to hear. Right?
Right.
I don't need to hear. And also another thing.
Right. For sure. Teresa says this discussion is too good. I'm supposed to be cleaning my kitchen.
Oopsie.
Maria says it's difficult balance because I want people to read the first book first, but need to also be talking about the second. Really, the only way to get reviews is to give the book away. That's how I found. Now, organically, the more readers you have, the larger your email list becomes. As you grow as an author, the more books you have out, all of it will start to become more like automatic.
Right.
Even for me, I mean, I am a low end mid-lister, low end, and I'm already getting natural reviews that I didn't have to ask for, or I don't know who these people are. It's happening.
So
and it will
get the
happen
next
more.
book out is what's
Get the next-
important.
And then unfortunately though, for my second book to get reviews, I had to give it away. So I use Story Origin to give it away, and I have that ability. So I know Maria said that it wasn't a problem with her publishers. That's great. So if they allow you to give your book away for free, like whenever you need to for reviews, then that's what I would use. Story Origin. I would load up the ebook and give it a try for the second book too. I've had people read the book, second book, review it, and then go back and do the first book because they like the second book. So.
Well, we're about 3/4 of the way through the podcast and we still haven't read our feeding of the back. So do you think we should move on?
Of course.
If we need to talk more about reviews, we can, but topics like this are going to be popping up for us. As I said, we're all sort of published and in selling as well as writing. So lots of discussion like this will be happening, and we do appreciate your topic suggestions. So shoot them our way. If there's something you'd like to hear us talk about on the Christian Indie Writers podcast, we would love to hear from you. And now we are going to move on to the portion of the show we call the feeding of the backs. What's that? Well, that's when we would say, have you gotten a significant amount of feedback for your work? Yes. Is your back well fed? Yes. So that's why we call it the feeding of the backs. Jen, what did we write this week? We set our timer for 15 minutes and we wrote what?
Today's top or sprint prompt was, the stage was set for a perfect event. And I liked mine. Jamie, when we finished, she used my famous line of, well, those are words, but this is actually, I don't know if it'll be edited, I'm sure, but this is going to end up in my book. And
exciting.
It's very
Well,
exciting.
then let's hear yours first, since it's good. Then we'll hear my barforama after that, and then we'll let Rhonda go.
Rhonda can save us at the end. With,
yes.
Yeah, right.
All right. The stage was set for a perfect event. In every corner glistened a beautifully decorated tree. Goodness, Ryan mused, any possible empty spot in the room that would not be taken up with a human body was decorated. He never would have been able to pull this off. He doubted that Sherry, with all her talents and ability to wrangle every aspect of Ryan's business life, would have been able to pull this off. No, only Marjorie could have done this, and the thought made him smile. Just then, as if reading his thoughts, she turned and caught him looking at her. In truth, it wasn't hard for her to do that. He found himself constantly looking at her, or looking for her if she wasn't by his side. And this ballroom full of people didn't make that task easy. But somehow his eyes always seemed to find her. Marjorie smiled at him, and something inside of Ryan churned, a part of him that he never thought would resurface. Deep inside of him, a warmth that had been snuffed out years ago glowed under her stare. A warmth that Ryan had snuffed out the same time he had shut God out of his life. But here it was, growing once more inside of him, and he hated it. He hated it because in just a few hours it would be over. God had answered his prayer, and God had answered his prayer, and it had not been the answer he wanted. Ryan wanted to hate God, but he couldn't. Another gift Marjorie had given him, warmth and a renewed relationship with his creator. And although God would not let him have Marjorie, Ryan knew that if he trusted him, the Lord would help him through anything, even losing the one person in all these years that Ryan had allowed himself to love. Ryan returned her smile, while on the inside the warmth began to die, little by little. It was killing him as well, but because now that he understood true love, now that he truly understood the sacrifice Jesus had made for him, he could no longer be selfish. He had to sacrifice as well. Marjorie would have her dream, even if it meant his was lost.
Aww.
How many words was that?
300 and some. Wasn't a lot. And I stopped early. Like, I was done. It was done. I got up and got coffee. I came back. You guys are still writing. I'm like, wow. But it was, for me, it was done. So
wow.
I'm sure
Very
when
good.
I edit, it'll be more. Thank you.
Yeah, I could totally picture that event.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like they had you on the case decorating it, Jen. Every space where there wasn't a body was stuffed with a Christmas decoration.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
it does sound like my house. So
this is a scene that you had to have in your book anyway, right? Like,
yeah.
so, wow.
Well, no, I knew
Oh.
that I had to have a shattering, like, not a shattering moment. It's not a short story. I knew that I had to have my last disaster. I know,
Right.
it's a romance. So they have to not be together. Like, and then the reader has to think all hope is lost. Well, here, all hope is lost. I didn't know how I was going to do it until I started writing. So that's now I know. Now I know. Shell says, wow, Jen, so good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So now I know there's going to be a Christmas ball, and that he's going to basically end it with her.
How sad.
Not really the end. So.
Okay.
It's okay, Jamie. There's a happily ever after, I promise.
Not for Marjorie.
Her
Her name's Marjorie, right?
Her name is Marjorie.
Well, I
on
kind of
purpose.
forgot that your person's name was Marjorie, and there's a dead person named Marjorie in my story.
The one you wrote just today,
Yes.
your sprint, or your...
Yes. So
Awesome.
let's pretend that this is her funeral way in the future.
Okay.
Just kidding. But it's just kind of funny because I knew that your person's name was Marjorie. Like the name, I'm like, why is this name so familiar? So anyway, I really did not mean to write about your character being dead.
That's okay.
She's only like a cameo, it turns out anyway. So I will read it.
Okay. I'm excited.
Every detail had been thought of, Gregory saw, as he fingered the lilac ribbon that fell so elegantly against the smooth polished mahogany. Only the best for you, Marjorie, he whispered. I didn't do it on purpose, I swear. I totally forgot your person's name was Marjorie. All right, sorry. Anyway. All right. He moved on to the poster board displays, quite out of fashion in this digital age, but the oldest of the three daughters had insisted, saying her displays for each of her children's graduation parties had always been the talk of each event. The digital homage was there as well. Images of the same ones Gregory had just walked past zoomed in at him from distant scenes of pastures or seascapes as the old rugged cross and I'll Fly Away played continually on a loop. Gary stood quite near the vast array of greens and succulents that had been sent and waited. He knew that if he stood there long enough, a relative of Marjorie's, a second cousin in from out of town, for example, would make conversation and he would be well on his way of getting an introduction to someone of real importance. Is this a ficus? Gregory turned to see a wide-eyed brunette in a dress too short for mourning, but long enough to at least be called a dress, and at least over a dark color and whatever, a pair of black and white striped leggings. Who knows what all that just said?
Those are
I don't
words.
know what a ficus is, answered Gregory. He stuck with honesty as often as possible. It was safer that way. I'm Janine, the girl said, shoving a flat palm toward him. Gregory, who hung around a decidedly more comfortable with fist-bumping sort of crowd, nevertheless took the fingers and squeezed them gently. Gregory, nice to meet you. I'd never believe it based on that handshake, Gregory, she winked. If that is indeed your real name. Why wouldn't that be my real name? I don't know, I'm sorry. I say stuff like that sometimes, especially at events like this. They're so boring. I take it you didn't know the decedent? Marjorie? The girl huffed and waved a hand. Course I knew her. Me and her was like this. She held up two crossed fingers. Too bad the old bat had to bite it when she did. I was just getting used to hanging out with her on Wednesdays for bingo and sticky buns. You don't have to be sarcastic. I mean, you're at the woman's service. I simply expected you to know her. Why? I mean, it's obvious that you never did. How? I mean, it is? Gregory flushed at having given himself away so easily. Never mind me. What's your angle? What are you doing here? And don't think for 1 minute I'm going to believe some story about plant history, species, or studies or something. That's good, the girl said, tapping her chin. I'm going to remember that for next time. So if it wasn't the plant angle, what was your next move? Gregory followed the girl to an abandoned row of seats near the back of the room and slid into one next to her. The end.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's not the end. You just
Well, I mean, that's all that is it. That is all that I wrote. I was done.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you can't even tell me that's just words. All right, first of all, the ribbon against the mahogany, like you just set a state, like without saying casket, like you just say casket. Also, someone else might have just said they shook hands. No, not Jamie, not J.R. Nichols. Like the shoving a flat palm towards him and the fist bumping, and then like the whole description, although how you describe that they shook hands is just so artfully done that like you had me. You absolutely had me, even though like you felt like it wasn't anything. Like I can't wait to know more about this. I want to know.
Oh, thank you.
Who is this person? Why are these two people here and they don't even know her? And like just so good. I love
Only
it.
the best for Marjorie.
Ditto everything she just said, but also I was like, ficus? Jamie knows what a ficus is. And then for your character to not know what a ficus was, I just was very satisfied.
Yes. What was that thing about the ficus in the commercials? There was like a ficus, and if it was a ficus that fell in your car, they covered it or something. And so they're like, is this a ficus? I don't know. Piper says that was fun, Jamie. Thanks, Piper. Oh, and he says, your Marjorie is older, so it's all good. I love this so much. Yes, not the same Marjorie. Hilarious, though.
Yeah. Shell says, great descriptions, Jamie. Agreed. Always,
Thanks,
always so
guys.
good.
All right. So let's see, Miss Rhonda, what we got today for the writing sprint?
Okay. I'm lucky 500 words. but this is for character development in my story right now. So
Perfect.
Did you do your nano people?
yes.
Great.
Did you do
good
your
job.
nano people, Jamie, or is it
No,
all
I
new?
keep forgetting that we're supposed to be doing that.
Well, it's only okay. So the rule of doing your nano project with these sprints is really just to help your nano project, which you're
Oh.
not. I mean, you know what I mean. So if you don't do it, that's fine. But I
Okay.
needed to do it. I need the words.
See.
Yeah. Yeah, so I won't be using these words in my story, but I really didn't understand this character yet, so I have a pretty good handle on her now.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay. The stage was set for a perfect event. Little Marnie was going to shine like the star she was destined to be. My one failure will be expunged after her performance tonight. No longer will my name be remembered in infamy. It wasn't an accident that my daughter's 5th grade play was Puff the Magic Dragon. I've been campaigning for it since her class's kindergarten year. Our district student body has doubled in 20 years since my class graduated due to an invasion from the overpopulated county south of us. So few of my daughter's classmates have parents who would remember my embarrassing night. That leaves the spotlight to shine directly on my bright star, Marnie. I saw Ashley Turnbow peek from behind the onstage curtain while trying to keep her huge cardboard cutout costume hidden. She's a bright blue cloud with a white turtleneck and tights. Guilt tried to throw its dark shadow over me, but I was able to quench it easily. All I did was explain to Ashley how scary it is to remember all those lines, and then casually mentioned seeing one little girl with stage fright puke on stage in front of the packed auditorium. Yeah, that's all I have.
That's it. Oh no.
Do you have a feel for this character yet?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like a dance mom, right? Like a
Yeah,
cheer mom.
yes,
I
yes,
love.
Wow.
I just casually mentioned, like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
She went from puff to a cloud.
All right, so
So-
this is a character in one of your the book you're writing right now.
The
Your Nano
narrator of
project?
this one is, yes, a character in the book.
Awesome.
The focus on what I can only describe, which I hate to use the word as sort of like pettiness, but that I'm so guilty of, right? Like I'm going to get that solo after all. And it's as though it was consequential, as though the world cared that you failed as Puff the Magic Dragon, but you still feel like in your own life, this is like your story arc. I will redeem Puff the Magic Dragon.
Exactly.
I so appreciate that, Rhonda.
Me too. It's awesome.
Good.
Piper said, "Oh my goodness, evil."
Thank you.
Shell says, "Oh man, I love that." LOL. And Mean Girls. That was awesome, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Agreed. That
Very
was
Well,
great.
there's only one Puff, you know.
Oh,
and
for
you,
real.
You got to go for what you want. You got to take your shot, right? Like,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Poor Marnie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of issues did she grow up with? I wonder.
Right.
So she grows up to be your main character, right?
No, she is.
No, Marnie's my other main character. That's just so funny. You
that's
both
not-
grow with names.
I was
Remember, like
wondering why
Marnie.
that name was stuck in my head.
Marnie's my other contemporary that's out there brewing that I almost wrote
Jennifer,
for
you
this.
affect us.
Yes.
You have no idea.
That's hilarious, Jen. We write fan fiction for Jen Girl Pong. Jen already has people writing fan fiction of her work.
Didn't I
It's not
do
even been
Warren
published
fan
yet.
fiction?
She's so popular.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Love it.
All right. So, yeah, I'm hosting. Right. Okay. So 2 minutes left. What's next? What's next? Ooh, Jen, what's your Nano news, Jen? And what's next for you? And good job, by the way, Rhonda, if I didn't say it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I have been showing up every day and writing
Yay!
for 2 hours. Been very, very excited about that, even though I experienced a flood in our basement on Sunday. Stepped down into the basement where my office is and into a lake.
That's terrible.
Oh, no.
Horrible. But praise God, most of the things we had were in plastic. A lot of things had to be washed, but that's doable. The only real disastrous thing that was ruined was some of my books. They were in a cardboard box and were on the floor, like my books my written books.
Oh, no.
But guess what? They were the ones that were mistakes anyway.
Yay!
I didn't even care.
And you don't have to worry about like, should I give these out or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I've been showing up every day. And yesterday, I knew I was way behind, and I did the math and realized that if I wrote 3,000 words a day, I would finish and I'd be able to win Nano. which is totally doable for me. If I don't get distracted by life, right? Well, then as I'm getting ready, like, so the last sprint yesterday, I kind of was at a standstill. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to spend some time organizing what I have. I already had met my goal for the day. And so I'm going through, and guess what? I found 4,400 brand new words from this Nano that I had not put into my Scrivener document yet,
Yay.
which was so great. So now, I mean, I still have to write more than 1667 a day, but a whole lot less than that, than I thought I was going to have. So
Wow,
I'm very
good.
happy. I'm flowing really well. And then this sprint today did really good for me because I still was kind of like gray about how my last disaster was going to be. And now I can see what's going to happen, and I'm very excited. So I can't wait to get writing again.
That's
what about you,
real.
Ron?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go, Rhonda. What's up? What's next?
I'm just keeping on my Nano project for the next couple weeks, and I'm really hopeful to have this done still by the end of Nano. I don't know if it will. I'm a little bit farther behind than I thought I would be, but I feel really good about what's happening.
I'm excited.
Yeah, Rhonda, I could totally ditto you, except, it's one of those crazy things where I feel like I've been fiddling around like in the same chapter forever. But then I know not every chapter is going to need this kind of work. So it is possible that I could still meet my goal within the next 10 days. It just does not seem possible when you're bogged down, when one particular plot point or one particular chapter is making you crazy. And then you start to be like, will anybody even want to read this? And you start to get all, So yeah,
don't get inside your head.
Yeah, just got to keep going. Just keep doing the next part and keep doing the next part.
Right.
Shell says, what's next for her? More reading. Looking forward to a couple days off for Thanksgiving. Ooh, Jen, are you going to sprint on Thanksgiving?
That's a good question. I probably should not, but we'll see. I mean, that's in the morning. I'm done by 10. I might. So I guess you have to show up this week during the sprints and find out what my answer to that is. So Piper says, what's next? Redo the newsletter to send today. Fixing behind the scenes things to make it work. Sprinting to get the words in. Maria says, you want to read it, Jamie?
Yeah, Lottie's Locket comes out next Thursday. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
Off the back of the discussion, if anyone fancies posting a review on launch day, I won't say no. So hit Maria up. She'll give you an art copy. Her virtual launch party is the 26th of November at 5. That's so amazing.
What is that? 10 p.m. here, Eastern time?
I am the wrong person. I am horrible about that stuff. Does she have a Facebook groupie thing?
She's saying that it's 5 p.m. GMT. Is that?
That's Greenwich Mean Time. I think they're 5 hours ahead of us.
I think so.
I would have been like, it's General Mountain time. I don't know. Like, I really is like, I know it's terrible. Greenwich Mean Time.
They are 5 hours. I'm almost positive. I have a friend that lives just outside of London. So if she's the same time period as London, then it's 5 hours. So if it's 5 p.m. there, it'll be noon our time in the Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. Maria Piper's wanting to know how to get your book. So, hey, I know Maria has some really good social media rocking. Check out her Twitter. I know she's real active over there. And General Mountain, right? See, that's what I'm like. And so, yeah, everybody check out each other's social media pages, swap books, give reviews, love each other, or just come here on Friday. That's about all I can manage is to show up here on Friday and say, keep writing, because hopefully that's helping you too. And that's what we're here for. We're here to inform, encourage, and support you as you try to get across the publishing finish line. So did we say everything there is to say today, ladies? Yeah. Rhonda's not sure.
Well, I was just going to say, Piper just blew my mind. No Thanksgiving parade this year. First time in 29 years that I haven't seen the parade. So maybe we'll sprint.
Okay. All right. Well,
maybe we should sprint to give everyone some sort of holiday cheer.
We can do a parade of words.
I can commit to doing that on Thanksgiving. My family won't care. So Rhonda, I'll sprint with you if nothing else, since you don't get to see the parade. Does that feel okay?
Sure.
And then do you have a time? Do you want to do 8? Because Jen's been doing 8. And then if she wants to show up, she can. How about that?
Yes.
All right. So Rhonda and I will be there at 8. And Jen, you can talk to your family, see if they want you to come or not.
It's more about if I get my act together and have all the cooking done. Because I do my parents do the turkey. I do everything else.
Oh, that's right. Well, there you go. Then maybe we'll just be the substitute turkeys.
Yep.
All right. So with that, we're going to conclude this episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. And until next time, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.